All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Excuse me for a minute, I got a little tongue back there, please. But nonetheless, it is time for some picks in the world of the National Football League. Not all of my picks for week number 13. I'm just going to give you my breakdown of the games for tomorrow. And of course, there's a triple header in the NFL as well as the contest on Friday, the Black Friday game. Very important games on tap. And this is one weekend where all 16 teams are playing. Of course, there are some teams around the league who still have yet to get their bye. That's coming soon. And then, of course, it's stretch run time. But nonetheless, all of these games, all four of them that I'm going to talk about, have big time playoff implications. And guess what? With the month of December right around the corner, the importance of these games are big. So I want to start off with the NFC North battle tomorrow, as of course, it's the early start, as always, for the Detroit Lions. And this time around, they are welcoming a longtime division rival to the Motor City in the Green Bay Packers. And of course, the Packers are 7-3-1, while the Lions are 7-4. The Packers are in second place in the NFC North, while the Lions are third. And to give you an idea of how important that this game is and how competitive that things are in the NFC, the Lions are currently on the outside looking in of the playoff picture as they're in eighth place, while the Packers are in sixth. So, of course, the onus is on this game. Now, remember, week one, these two teams met at Lambeau, and for the most part, it was the Packers that dominated the Lions en route to the victory. Right now, I'm looking at the Packers, and they're expected to get Josh Jacobs back for this game, which is important for their offense. They're 7-3-1, and sometimes the Packers can look like world beaters, and then on the flip side, you look at the Packers play and you're like, okay, what is going on with this team? So I think it's going to be very important, especially from an offensive standpoint with Jordan Love. They need to get off to a strong start tomorrow in Ford Field against the Lions. Try to take that crowd out of the game and try to dictate things. And if they can get a lead and let their defense, led by Micah Parsons, put some pressure on Lions quarterback Jared Goff, then you know what? They'll be off to the races. On the flip side for the Lions, we saw Detroit get off to a slow start last week against the lowly New York Giants before they were able to kick it into overdrive. I think what the Lions have to do tomorrow is something that they could not do first time around against Green Bay, which is to get the ground game going with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. And of course, the Lions, you know that they are loaded with talent at the skill positions on the offensive side of the ball, but their bread is buttered by their ground game. I like this Lions defense led by Aiden Hutchinson, and I think this game overall is going to come down to which front four is going to be able to put enough pressure on the opposing quarterback and possibly force some turnovers. You look at this contest here. Detroit comes in favored by 3 points at home. I think this is going to be a back and forth affair, but nonetheless, I like the Lions to hold serve by the score of 30-24. Now at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, we've got the 5-1 Dallas Cowboys set to host the 6-5 Kansas City Chiefs. Both of these teams have been up and down this season. We've seen the Cowboys look like a different team since they came out of their bye. They've won their last two games, and I think they have some momentum going for themselves after they were able to knock off the Philadelphia Eagles at home this past Sunday. For the Chiefs, it was a must-win for them last Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts. And at times, Kansas City did not look like they wanted to win that game, but nonetheless, they found a way. For the Chiefs right now, it has not been pretty, but you don't mind it being not or being unpretty, if you will. The bottom line is you want to go out there and win contests. I think for Kansas City defensively, they need to make a statement and they need to find a way to impact this Cowboys offense, disrupt their timing. They've got to put pressure on Dallas quarterback Dak Prescott because if they're unable to get to Dak, with the talent at wide receiver with CD Lamb, and of course, the way that George Pickens has been playing right now, Kansas City could be in for a long evening in Big D. Speaking of defenses, Dallas's defense looks a lot better after the acquisition of Quinnen Williams. It really shored things up inside, and that's going to be important because you know the KC wants to run the football. They're expected to have Isaiah Pacheco back. That's going to be big for their offense. But if Dallas rather can stop Kansas City on first and second down, keep them in third and long situations, and try to put some pressure on Patrick Mahomes, that will be key. I think it's the age-old thing. When you play Kansas City, okay, like I said, you've got to keep him in third and long, and on top of that, you have to sack Patrick Mahomes. Okay, you can't allow him to get comfortable back there. On the flip side, for this Dallas offense, they can't settle for threes. I keep saying it all the time when you play the Chiefs. You got to keep the pressure on them. You've got to put sixes up on the board. I look at this game, and this is a back and forth game right here. I know Kansas City comes in favored by 3.5. Both of these teams need this game because they're currently on the outside looking in of the playoff picture in their respective conferences. Like I said, the Chiefs come in favored by 3.5. The over-under is 52.5 in this one. And I'm going to take Dallas at home by the score of 27-24. Now, the nightcap for this triple header tomorrow, an AFC North battle as we have the 3-8 Cincinnati Bengals traveling to take on the 6-5 Baltimore Ravens. And of course, this game just took a little twist. Why? Because after being out of action for the last couple of months, Bengals starting quarterback Joe Burrow is set to return to action. Nonetheless, unfortunately for Burrow, as far as the postseason goes, the Bengals really don't have a lot to play for as they're just simply trying to look to play spoiler to the Baltimore Ravens. And like I said, the Ravens got off to that 1-5 start. They have picked it up. It has not been pretty at times. However, the Ravens have won their last 5 contests, and now it's meat and potato time for Baltimore. Why? Because you've won your last 5, and 4 of your final games are division games. 2 against Cincinnati, and of course, 2 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is more than likely going to decide who wins this division. Technically, Baltimore is tied with Pittsburgh for first place in the AFC North. I don't see them taking their foot off of the gas in this one. I like this Ravens offense to get it going because guess what? Cincinnati really hasn't been able to stop anybody all season long. So I would expect a big game tomorrow night from running back Derrick Henry. The Ravens come into this contest favored by a touchdown. I like them by 10 at home, 30-20. And finally, moving on to Friday, as we have a battle of division leaders in the NFC, as you've got the NFC North leading Chicago Bears with a record of 8-3, taking on the NFC East leading Philadelphia Eagles, who also have a record of 8-3. And like I've been saying about the Bears, all of those close games that they kept finding ways to lose last season, they are now finding ways to win under first-year head coach Ben Johnson. The Chicago defense, when they need to make plays, they find a way to make plays. And when Caleb Williams needs to make a play on offense late, he has been finding a way to make those plays. You look at the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're 8-3, but there's just something missing from the defending Super Bowl champs. They really have been unable to get their run game going all season long. It's been more about Jalen Hurts and this passing attack. And for Philadelphia to go back to where they want to go back to, at some point, some way, somehow, they're going to have to get their ground game going. But I think I'm looking at this Eagles defense going up against this Bears offense. Can they find a way to force Caleb Williams into a turnover or two tomorrow, or Friday afternoon at home? That's going to be key. Philadelphia comes into this contest favored by 7. I think this game is going to be much closer than that. I still like the Eagles, but by the score of 27-23. So, folks, those are my picks for Thanksgiving Day, as well as the Friday affair in the National Football League. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And for the rest of the picks for Week 13 in this NFL season, definitely check this channel out. this Friday, as I will be giving you that breakdown. As always, if you like what you heard and saw in this podcast, you know what to do. Just hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. And like I always say, it's greatly appreciated. Also, if you are on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check me out anytime at 300 pounds of sports. And like I always say, if you give me that follow, it'll be my pleasure to do the same in return. And that also goes for Instagram, where you can check me out at 300 pounds of sports knowledge. Also, if you're on Facebook, definitely check out the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the better sports groups going on social media. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.